And welcome to GTLive, where, ladies and gentlemen, it is Five Nights at Freddy's movie week. We are 5 nights? No, we're actually less nights away from Five Nights at Freddy's. That would have been cool if we had released something that was 5 nights away from Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah.
Instead, we're like 3 nights away, if you're including like preview night. See, that's one of my problems with movies at this point, is like, who knows what day they open anymore? Because back in the day, it was always like Friday release, and if you wanted to go be the first to see the movie, it'd be like the Thursday midnight showing, which allowed it to open on Friday, right? But nowadays, there are like layers and layers of preview shows that happen all leading up to that week. It's crazy.
It is.
So to say like, oh, we are X number of days before the FNAF movie drops, you can't actually predict that. Like, I don't even know. 3 days, 2 days? UK's getting it a couple days early. Like, yeah. Tom's going to see it before us.
No, I can get tickets to see it on the 26th.
Can
Here.
you?
Yes.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I was looking at Fandango earlier.
Are you going to get that?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so, maybe.
Well, I'm
the
trying
mood
to...
strikes.
Yeah, I'm waiting for some clarification from my friends.
Okay.
As to, like, what the plan is.
Okay.
Before I make any, like, purchases.
Sure.
Right.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
No, but it's one of those things, like, all the movie posters say it opens on October 27th, but apparently you can get tickets on the 26th.
But Ash is going on the 26th.
Right,
so...
and if you fly over to the UK, you can get it on the 25th. I don't know, man.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. So anyway, it is Five Nights at Freddy's movie week, and so in anticipation of the movie dropping, last week, Scott Cawthon released, in true Scott Cawthon form, released a troll game that was basically teasing this new upcoming thing that's happening. In true Scott Cawthon form, he loves to release these little mini games in anticipation of like the big releases that are happening. But this time, at the end of the game, there wasn't like clues sprinkled throughout the game or like hidden Easter eggs or things like that. Instead, at the end of the game, he dropped us a little unlisted URL for this video right here that I've pulled up. And it's 9 minutes, it's a bunch of security footage, but there apparently is all this stuff sprinkled throughout that we were kind of surprised. Yes, last time we ended the episode clicking through this just to see like what it was. And it seems like there's actually a lot packaged in here, enough so that we're like, hey, we should come and revisit this on Monday, so that way we can actually do a live feedback reaction to this, see what clues we can piece together in our final stretch to the movie. I mean, at this point, like I said, 3, 4, 5 days away, there's not a whole lot that we can necessarily contribute here, but maybe there's some fun little details that we can parse out. This is our last chance to kind of like make any last minute predictions or calls for the movie. So I'm excited about it. And just in general, like, get some new footage and angles, and I'm assuming this is a lot of like B-roll that may or may not make it into the final cut of the movie, so that's cool. That's the plan for today, my friends. Let's parse through the Freddy Fazbear's Pizza security footage to see what we can get together for the movie and see if there's any new reveals buried inside. It's a 9-minute video, which means that it'll probably take us 2.5 hours of actually sitting here and analyzing it. So in order to make that as truncated as possible, let's just hop in, shall we? Watch some slow-moving security footage. And on one hand, I would make a joke. I love that I've paused it and nothing has really happened. And I love that I was going to make a joke here about like, oh, sorry guys, this is going to be really boring. You're just going to have to sit here and watch me watch cameras that don't change at all for the next hour. But the long and short of it is welcome to every FNAF game ever. Like, that is a FNAF Let's Play. So really, this is the equivalent of playing these games like we've been doing for so long on this channel. So it's not really making all that much of a difference. Okay. So I feel like we've gotten this shot before in the upper middle there of Vanessa outside approaching the pizzeria. So that's not anything new. One thing I'm immediately interested by is actually the lighting on this. Because you'll notice, right, like it's not just like static gray office, but you're getting a lot of reflected coloring, and you know it's not coming from the screens because the screens obviously are just black and white. And so you have a lot of this like colored flashing, which is odd because I believe in all the footage from the trailers that we've seen so far. I had Dawko pulled up. Where FNAF trailer? Does the actual office? Does the actual security office have flashing lights in it or like colored lights in it? I don't think it does. Oh, maybe there. Maybe here? No, it's not flashing colored lights. It's flashing just normal overhead lighting. You're not seeing like any sort of atmospheric lighting. So like presumably you would see this reflected lighting with like a red or a blue or like party lights behind there, but you're not actually seeing that in the security footage. I don't know if that's made up for just this teaser trailer or if, you know, this is like, if that was thought about, or if, you know, I'd be like, well, maybe the security office is right next door to the pizzeria or whatever, or like right, you know, you have the pizzeria like right behind you or something. But the fact that the lighting is so colorful is immediately interesting and something that I wanted to call out because it's changing a lot too. Okay, so we got two things going on here. We've got Tutorial Girl. Okay, so we've got Tutorial Girl that we saw from the initial trailer down in the bottom left. Looks like she's going to say something. But over here to the right, this is presumably Vanessa and Mike getting introduced to the animatronics for the first time. This is a different shot from what we've seen in the trailers, where, you know, Vanessa comes in and is like, oh, meet the band, or like, you haven't met them yet, or whatever. And then she pulls back the curtain or hits the button and the show starts. And so that seems like a different angle of that, which is kind of cool. I also love the design of this where, again, we've talked a little bit through the FNAF movie trailer reactions about how much cinematography plays into this. You're already getting this power dynamic of a high angle shot of Freddy kind of towering and being high up and bigger than both Vanessa and Mike here, which shows the power dynamic there. And at a certain point, Freddy is going to be the thing that threatens them, or is the thing that is kind of like acting against them. So all of that is being communicated in the visual language of the movie, which is just a cool shot to see. This is brand new. Also, while I'm looking at this, you have this pill bottle right here, which, have we seen a pill bottle in the trailers? It's funny that it's right here in frame. So again, calling attention to the fact that Mike is actively taking these pills for maybe a condition that he has, things like that.
Adorable, aren't they? Protecting these cuddly critters and the proprietary technology that brings them to life is now your sacred duty. Keep them safe.
Yeah, protect that proprietary technology. You know it. It is my sacred duty. It's my God-given right. A lot of flashing. Cool. Vanessa's having a really hard time getting in. This strikes me as B-roll. They're like, hey, we need some shots of you just like needing to get some attention, and so getting in. So like, yeah, just wave to the camera for a little bit. We'll use one of these takes for the final movie. It's fine. We're gonna lock you out of here for a little bit. Huh, that's interesting. So can we hear the audio? Because I guess we heard this tape and her talking to us about her sacred duty, but it is interesting that you can hear her knocking, which says that either we're being pumped in audio from the security cameras, which isn't normally something that you have in Five Nights at Freddy's games, or the security office is near the exterior door, which is also just an interesting factoid. This is Foxy's hallway, I'm assuming. Oh, hello. Okay, we got everything. Trying to watch them all. It is. It's like its own little mini game. I wonder if we'll see Foxy run down the hall. That'd be amazing. Okay. Oh, the fan! But that's a different fan. That's not you.
It's a fan cam.
It is. You're so right, Ash. It is a fan cam. Thank you. Thank you for that contribution. I'm proud of you for that one.
Thanks, Matt.
Well done. Yeah, that is a fan cam. And there's another fan over here, so it's like dual fans.
Oh.
I know, so many fans, so little time. So this is more of an industrial fan. It makes me wonder, in one of the trailers, we see someone popping out of the vents. So I'm wondering if this is just like a B-roll shot of that, or maybe like a perspective shot as you're going through the camera, or as you're going through the vents and like in the perspective of whoever's crawling through the vents. I think it's Mike. You know, maybe this is a shot that they picked up while they were doing that. Oh, too many fans in this franchise. Can't stand it. Oh, and that buzzing, I've been wondering what the buzzing is. I thought it was a random electrical, but it's her actually, it's her actually like using almost a doorbell. That was the end of that clip, I guess. So she's like, I'm done here. I'm waiting for this Foxy foot to do something. There's angry Foxy. So this is him unhinged. Is his eye patch gone? Interesting. So that's him in the middle of attacking, so that's cool to see them actually starting to get angry, go on the jump scare attack. I wonder if we'll get one of those throughout the movie. Presumably, a fair number of jump scares. Oh, hello. So we got a news broadcast. Okay, so we got Mike's first entrance. We have the initial news coverage of kids disappearing from the pizzeria. That Foxy foot. I'm assuming that they're just like sitting on this for, oh, hello. Oh. Oh, weird. Oh, he's moving. I'm like, is that someone from like the prop team getting up and just like smashing this? But no, oh, funny. So Foxy's been kind of just like standing in one position. Like, oh, weird. Smush. Huh. So I guess that was the actual animatronic doing the smashing, because I know in my initial trailer reaction, I thought it kind of looked a little bit like goofy and stilted, like almost they had a prop of the Foxy foot, and you know, some prop guys like jump, smash. But that, I mean, that made it look, unless that was all CG, I mean, it looked like an actual robot walking there, like the actual animatronics. Okay, Garrett. Okay, so we know, I think we know, or at least we're assuming that Garrett is Mike's brother. So this is, I'm assuming, and we could cross-reference this with the actor, but I'm assuming that this is a young version of Mike in a flashback, right? Calling out to his brother, being kidnapped by mysterious hooded guy, right? Who we said in our FNAF movie film theory that it's likely William Afton, just because who else would it be? Unless it's just like random kidnapper X, it kind of has to be William Afton because he's the guy who's known for kidnapping kids to start off the story, and if not him, then who? So this is young Mike with his brother Garrett being kidnapped by William, which is interesting. Huh. Oh! Oh, cool, got a little pop-in of the naked animatronic. The naked endo. Is that?
Would have just said endo.
Bear endo. Naked. You know, sometimes you're reacting to things live on a Monday morning, Ash.
Yeah, no, I get it.
And you just think about the naked endo.
Yeah.
You know, bare, unclothed, desuited.
Ooh, desuited. That makes sense.
Desuited.
That makes more sense.
Yeah, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Which again, I wonder if is this real? Is that a real animatronic endoskeleton? Like, is that the actual endoskeletons, or did they just like do this one in CGI? Because he looks a little bit like his lighting doesn't quite look like it matches. So I'm assuming they're just like popping him in. But I appreciate the reference again to like, you know, the bare endoskeletons just appearing in the camera footage sometimes. It's not my job description to answer the phone.
Let me give you a little backstory.
Oh, if it isn't William Afton Trump. Matthew Lillard Afton Trump. We were saying last week, if you didn't watch the end of our Friday episode, that Matthew Lillard, for whatever reason, in this role, sounds a lot like Donald Trump, just very, very clearly. Listen for it.
This place was huge in the 80s with the kids.
Huge.
It's been shut down for years. The only reason they haven't given it the old wrecking ball treatment. The owner's a bit of a, well, he's kind of a sentimental guy, I guess.
Huh, the owner's kind of a sentimental guy. That's interesting. It's interesting the performance there too, because like, if he himself is one of the owners or is the owner, that would be him referring to himself in the third person. So him having that like little pause there as like a winking nod in the performance of like, no, I know this is actually me. That'd be smart.
For years. The only reason they haven't given it the old wrecking ball treatment. The owner's a bit of a, well, he's kind of a sentimental guy, I guess.
Right, you don't want to leave it just yet. What was that? That was blue and red, I think. Yeah, I'll have this random code.
Just can't bring himself to let it go yet. Yeah.
Interesting how
Just can't bring himself to let it go yet.
it's interesting how this section, and again, going back to how we don't see any footage of Matthew Lillard outside of him just holding a phone and talking at this desk. And it's weird to me that this is the only chunk so far in the first 3 minutes of this thing that has had like actual glitches in the visuals, where everything up to this point has been like pretty organic and screens haven't stopped functioning and you haven't had things really have to be cobbled or cropped together, but you have these kind of like long takes that are changing in and out. But again, with Matthew Lillard, there's like his footage and the whole thing is freezing at certain moments. They're doing hard cuts between things. So again, it feels like, specifically with him and his character, they're cutting around, like this is the only shot that they have, or they're cutting around a lot of the things that are going on with him. It just feels like his treatment is different from everything else that's going on here. It makes me wonder if they just like got him to just record a bit. They're like, we need general coverage of you holding a telephone, and we're just gonna make you say a bunch of things, and it's not gonna match your lips, it's all gonna be done in ADR, but to completely throw off any hint of anyone having any clue about what you are in this movie, we're just gonna have you talking on a generic phone and having you say a bunch of random stuff. Just read these lines for us, Matt, and do your best Donald Trump impersonation while you're at it. And he's like, okay, got it.
Yeah. Had some trouble with break-ins over the years. Drunks and vagrants mostly. Not ideal.
Right, that cadence, that is not ideal. Like where it kind of like elides into the next phrase. Mostly bands and vagrants, not ideal. You know, you don't actually finish the thought or the sentence and you kind of slide into the next one. Again, it's a very like Trumpian vocal thing.
Systems dated but fully functional. Floodlights on the outside, cameras inside and outside. Fair warning, the electricity is a bit iffy.
It's a little bit iffy. That's awesome. I love that performance. I really like that tone. I'm curious if he is indeed revealed to be William Afton, and if there are multiple movies in this franchise and we spend more time with this guy as a killer, I'm curious if you'll get annoyed with it. Like, oh, I really hate this guy. Like, I'm really annoyed that I have to listen to him talk outside of these short little bursts. Like, can you imagine him as a dad to like his little baby Elizabeth or his little son? Like, don't you be playing right there. It's a little iffy right there.
It's a little iffy right there.
Yeah.
Or like he's trying to teach his kids how to ride a bike and it's like, fair warning.
Yeah, fair warning. You might fall off and scrape your knee. It's like, oh, geez. This guy. The dad that no one wants. Like, even before he became like sadistic serial murderer, just still like, oh man, dad, do I really have to hang out with dad this weekend? Oh, pass. I'd rather play with hoops and sticks. That's one thing, I'm assuming that, I saw a discussion of this online, like people being like, why does Bonnie explode here? And I'm assuming that's just a short circuit, right? Like these animatronics have not been turned on in a long time, and so the electricity and the electrical wiring systems must be old and kind of like decayed, right? So activating them all of a sudden, like, yeah, they're gonna work, but someone's gonna short or have a problem, and I think that that's what we're seeing here. I think people were confused, like, why would Bonnie explode? But I'm assuming that's got to be what it is. That was a lot of stuff. Hold up. This is fun. And again, I said this in our initial trailer reactions, but the set looks great. Like, I'm assuming this is part of the set. Like, I mean, it's literally a full-on pizzeria. That was cool. That was a good character choice. I like that. So this is Hank, I think, is his character name from the IMDb page. And we know based on the trailer that he goes around and smashes up everything. Awesome. This would be fun. Oh man, batter up. Here we go. Oh, cool. I was gonna wonder if it, like, because it was building up to this, and I was wondering if the cameras or like the ghosts or spirits or whatever to have like a big reaction to it. Smart. That's one of those times where it's like, oh yeah. Is that it? Checking the camera, making sure everything's still rolling. Having a good time? Yeah. Right. I think a lot of this is just, yeah, more like behind the scenes or like B-roll stuff where it's like, that's going to be, ooh, hello. Oh, just throwing a chair. That's fun. How often in your day-to-day life do you get to throw a chair around? So Chica and Cupcake do not like this. They disprove. Oh. Hank's gonna get blended for that. The Cupcake disapproves. You have made the Cupcake angry, Hank. I do wonder if there is a relation there of like, hey, you know, Hank did this bad thing. Now all of a sudden we see the spirits responding, and it's all Chica and Cupcake imagery. So I'm wondering if it's Chica's the one that takes him down, right? Because in the FNAF trailer 2, is it this one? No, this is the first one. Trailer 2, is that where because we see the Cupcake attack someone. So we see all this. We see him destroying stuff. No, this is the guy who dies to Cupcake. Yeah, Chica's there. So I'm wondering if Chica is the one on general cleanup duty for everyone, like all the robbers, all the vandals who are breaking up the pizzeria. I wonder. And that's why she's the one that's being shown in all of these. So it's like, oh, you made Hank angry, you will pay.
The genius who created Fazbear Entertainment opened Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria to indulge in his two greatest passions: family-friendly fun and cutting-edge animatronic technology.
And wanton child murder, you know, the usual. It's interesting. So in this lore, I guess in the games, Henry is described as like an animatronic genius, or like he's a creative genius. They talk about it. Because I was going to say the fact that there are training tapes actively saying that the person who made Freddy Fazbear's is a genius, that feels like a very William Afton move, right? It feels like kind of like egomaniac, you know, I'm smarter than everyone should celebrate me, all that stuff. And so the idea of like forcing your employees to say, oh, the genius who made this place, that doesn't seem like the characterization of Henry historically, which would make me think like, oh, William Afton is canonically still the owner of this place, which then aligns with what Matthew Lillard did earlier, where he's like, oh, the owner is still sentimental, and kind of that like knowing laugh.
The genius who created Fazbear Entertainment opened Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria to indulge in his two greatest passions: family-friendly fun and cutting-edge animatronic technology.
Wanton child endangerment. Oh, there he goes. Go! Hank, go! He's limping a little bit, which is interesting. It seems like it, at least. Like, it makes me wonder if, like, Cupcake bit his leg or something. Because you see Cupcake, like, attacking people from a low angle. Nope, sneaking away. See more Cupcake imagery. So Cupcake's watching. So really, we're getting, like, the story of Hank here. That seems like the B-roll ended of the training tape, and she's like, okay, I'm good. I'm done here. And mysterious girl in the background. Ooh, hello. Okay. Okay, so that's Cupcake presumably killing off Hank. I would assume. Or like Hank has been finished. Thought I heard some like whispering in the background, but I guess not. Got Bonnie's shadow over here. Where are we looking to? Who's next? Up. He's warming up for a news broadcast. I think in the trailers, is that there? Because they come in to bang up the place. Oh, there it is. One second. They come in to wreck the place. Oh, but they're in a truck. So this must be Mike's? Mike's car, I guess? Does there come different? Is this car the same as this car? Doesn't look like it. Okay, this is Mike based on the hoodie. Because in the trailers we see him wearing the hoodie. So doing his cleanup chores. But then this is... Oh, hold up. Okay, so that's the old... Okay, so we know that's the, like, old security guard before Mike takes over. But are we getting Morse code? It definitely... That sounds like it. What starts it? There. So something... Did someone... It just kind of starts when Mike like looks at the camera. And we have like glitch Bonnie, like Shadow Bonnie. Is that supposed to be Shadow Bonnie? Weird. Huh. Or just an evil Bonnie. I don't know. This is so fast. Is this what you were talking about? The thing that I wouldn't miss is the Morse code?
Yeah.
Have people solved, like, because this, I mean, here's the thing. We could take, I would say at least, it would probably take an hour to like decode this. I mean, what you would have to do is you'd have to slow it down. Dot dash dot dash dash dot dash dot dash. Wow, you have all this overlapping audio too. Do people have it mapped out?
So we do.
Because I can do this. Like that's fine. Like if we need to, that's totally fine. I'd love to do it, but I also recognize that having me sit here and listen to the same like looping audio over and over again as I'm like, is that a dot or is that a dash? I don't know. Let's map that out. Might not be the most thrilling of pieces of content.
Yeah, so we have on the FNAF, on the Freddit, they call it the Freddit.
They do call it the Freddit.
This is by Matt Draws Things. This person deduced that the Morse code is help, we are being invaded, please send food and water. And then it got a little bit weird at the end.
Water?
It's the translation here on the post is our dot is not useful. Which I feel like might be power is not useful and got cut off.
Our, so like O-W-E-R or O-U-R?
O-W-E-R.
Oh, so yeah, power is not useful?
Maybe. Like on the, they posted a screenshot of the translation and it says, please send food and water, period. Our dot rate is not useful. U-S-E-F-E.
Huh, okay. Weird. That's so we're being invaded? Please send food and water. What would that even mean? Like, we are being invaded. who would be invading someone? Immediately, right? My mind goes to the animatronics, right? Like, oh, we're being invaded by outsiders. Like, they function as a group. Usually, they're considered to be a group, and so normally I think like, oh yeah, the animatronics are saying, oh, people are busting in. Like Hank and these invaders are coming in, right? So we're being invaded. But then why would you say, please send food and water? Because like, again, they're ghost kids. They're mindless animatronics. Like if anything in this lore is to be believed or is consistent, right? One thing that they go back to time and time again is that the others are like animals, but I am fully aware. The puppet is more in control of her actions and herself as opposed to the animatronics who are just like angry dogs, basically, who kind of operate and are mindless and have a general sensibility of what they're doing and who they're attacking and things like that, but aren't necessarily willfully acting in one direction or another, right? They act on impulse and instinct as opposed to like thought and logic. And so for a bunch of ghost kids in these animatronic suits to be like, send us food and water, that's not right. But then it's like, oh, well, maybe it's these invaders or something, because we're seeing the security guard trapped here. So maybe it's him? But then that doesn't make sense because it's we. So who else would it be?
Yeah, so on another post on the Reddit, this one by Slidey Dev,
yeah,
there was a comment by Horror Sucks that says, pretty sure the last sentence says something about something not being useful. Dot rate most likely referring to Morse code. An hour is a misspelling of like hour as in us.
Oh, you are?
Yeah. So it seems like that last sentence is just, it is definitely like our dot rate is not useful. It is something to...
What is a dot rate? Like the fast, like how fast those dots and dashes are being heard?
Well, polka dot's price today is $4.01.
Oh, thank goodness. What is polka dot?
I don't know.
Right? Is it a coin gag? I'm assuming it's an NFT.
It's
or
crypto.
Like a crypto coin?
Yeah.
Whoa, look at that trading volume. Popping off right now. What is it dot rate Morse code maybe? There are rules to help people distinguish dots from dashes in Morse code. The length of a dot is 1 time unit. A dash is 3. The space between symbols, dots, and dashes of the same letter is 1 time unit. Dot rate. Is there another dot rate? So it could be talking about, like, is that a meta thing about dot rate? What is dot? DOT rate, burn rate, and poison rate. Okay. Dot rate, yeah. Well, exactly. It's people. Yeah, I'm not seeing any like specific references to it outside of. Yeah, in the context of this, it seems like it's probably mostly tied to like the actual rate of the Morse code that's being sent out. But again, who would be sending it out? Please send food and water. Who needs food and water in like an abandoned horror pizzaplex? Like, William Afton might, like, if he was stuck in the walls, please send food and water. I'm stuck in the walls, please send food and water. But even that's like, you're not saying food and water, you're saying, like, please get me help, like, get me out of the walls. It's got to be the animatronics. But why do they need food and water? Like, are they still, like, operating under the idea that they're kids? And maybe they're like, oh, we're stuck here, please send food. Do you have any interpretations, Ash? That's weird. And it's weird for them to specific, like very clearly this is in there as another little like clue and mystery for us to chew on midway through because we're at 5 minutes, 50 seconds. So we're like a little over the midway point of this thing. So like, hey, let's rehook them with another like mystery or secret thing that we can grab here. And that gets people talking. But then why that? Why?
I mean, I feel like it could be a misdirect, right? I feel like food and water is pretty much indicative of like, we're living, help us. Like those are my basic things that I need to survive.
Right.
As a way to lure people in to the restaurant.
Oh, that's interesting.
As like additional
like
targets
SOS
for
code.
Afton. Yeah. So that is my initial thought. Unless it's like
similar to how you always saw like old Star Trek would always have the like sending out a distress signal, like a derelict ship is always like, oh, we just got a distress signal, and then you go in, and then it's like, oh, I was trapped the whole time.
Yeah, unless it is like that message is coming from Mike and or Vanessa. That is the only, like, those are the only two things I can think of that would make some amount of sense.
Right? Like, yeah, I could see Mike and Vanessa doing it, but then, so they're trapped inside.
It's like, girl, you're the one with the key.
But also,
Like-
the idea of invaded is a weird word
It
choice.
is.
Because invaded implies this is our home, and other people are breaking into our home, which is,
Right.
again, immediately why I go to the animatronics themselves, right? Like,
No, that makes sense, yeah.
this is our home, the restaurant is our home, and outsiders, in this case, like Hank and his crew of vandals or whatever, are invading and breaking it up like we just saw. But why would please send food and water? Maybe they're just not aware that they don't need to eat. Maybe this is coming from Chica. Chica loves to eat. We know that Chica loves her food.
Yeah.
She do be eating that cheesy pizza, getting her insides all sticky gooey.
Help, you're being invaded. Please send food and water. I mean, it's like, if the food and water isn't for the animatronics,
They just want to throw a party.
let's party. No, it's like, okay, so this place has been abandoned for so long.
Yeah.
Right? And you just got a couple lonely kids in there
Sure.
where it's like, this is a silly interpretation,
That's
and I'm
fine.
aware of that.
Well, welcome to the silly bear game. It's like, yep, that's fair.
Now we're doing the Silly Bear movie, right?
Right.
It's like they're being invaded by people, but they also kind of don't want them to go.
Right.
So it's like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of, if it were to come from the animatronics, what would make sense
Right.
to have to say that? But like, it seems so nonsensical
It
that
does.
it's like, is it really coming from them?
That is no. I think that's a good call out though, because you're saying, because help, we're being invaded. Please send food and water. If you're being invaded, like if you were sieged, right, and you were trapped inside, and people were like waiting on the outside for you to get out, you would need food and water because you're hunkered down, right? But the fact that someone has invaded you and broken into your home, food and water isn't really what you're worried about at that point. So yeah, no, to what you're saying, maybe the food and water, like the food and water is like, hey, welcome.
Like, it's not for them. Like, it's
Yeah.
for some other thing.
Yeah, that's interesting, right? Because invaded means it's not get them out, it's food and water. It's an odd connecting of ideas. Huh? Really bizarre.
We're getting invaded. We're gonna need some supplies.
Yeah, we need those supplies, and specifically the water. You gotta hydrate up. Gotta have those strong electrolytes flowing through our bodies.
The dough in the fridge is like 20 years old. We can't give that out.
I can't be giving out old pizzas.
No.
We need fresh stuff here, guys. We gotta order out pizza from the hut. It's a party night. It's a party box night. So anyway, that's weird. I might want to do just my own independent analysis of the Morse code just to see what it is and see if my conclusion agrees. But I have no reason to doubt. Like, the internet is very good at double checking this sort of stuff. So I wouldn't doubt that this is. I don't doubt that this is right or anything. But it'd be good to just get a sense of it for myself. But yeah, that's an odd message for sure. Here, let's keep going. Morse code. Appreciate the Morse code. Okay, so this is our security guard who we know eventually gets locked in the chair. The murder chair. Oh, and here's that perspective that I was talking about going through the vents. Those are massive vents, by the way. Just calling this one out. Look at this. He doesn't even have to squeeze in there. He has got room for days.
They're built for hiding.
Right? Those are massive vents. Normally I would call foul on that sort of thing, and I do call foul in it for such a small pizzeria. But when we were in Chicago the other week, we were at Navy Pier, which if you've never been to Chicago, is this really cool area. A lot of good restaurants, a lot of good entertainment things out there. It's just a really beautiful part of the city. But they have this massive structure at the Navy Pier for all the stores, and I saw the most enormous ventilation shafts. You could stand two of me up on top of each other and it would be fine. They were massive. And so clearly this is the ventilation shaft of a building that is 200 times the size of Freddy Fazbear's, but it works. So I've seen it before. It can work, but just not for a building this size. He doesn't have to struggle through those at all. It's amazing. Sorry, what was that right before the end there? What was that? Okay, so we're outside.
Oh.
Oh, what?
The Morse code stops with Abby.
Yeah, it does.
And it's cut off, and we know it's cut off.
Yeah.
From the interpretations.
Right.
So it's like,
So what is it about Abby then?
What is it about Abby?
There's something about Abby. So what so what we've seen up to this point, right, is a bunch of adults. We've seen the security guard running away in fear.
Right.
We've seen Hank busting up the place. So again, the theme of it all is that adult people are coming into this building, invading their house or whatever, and then you have a kid and everything's okay. So baby's the one, or not baby, Abby.
Ha ha.
Sorry.
Ha ha.
Right. Abby's the one who calms them down or is like allowed.
I mean, one of them, but also like because maybe she's a kid, there's this like protective sense that kicks in.
Yeah.
And it's like we don't want her to get nerfed too,
Right.
you know?
Nerfed, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so maybe that's what it is. So that's why all the frantic action stops. It's her. She's the one who tames the wild beasts. That's a good call out though. That all the invasion is all these older people happening, and now look, we got all this child
Tragedy
imagery.
tonight at a local pizzeria where 5 children who were attending a birthday event suddenly and mysteriously vanished into thin air. Let's head inside.
What's the thing on her? Can we tell? WZTD? Is that what it is?
It looks like WZTD.
Right, WZTD. That could maybe tell us where we are. Because I know there's the poster of Nebraska on the wall, but in our film theory, I'm like, oh, it's not. They're not in Nebraska. You don't hang up. They're saying, WZTV, Richmond, Virginia. Ooh, for the Spanish language network Telemundo. A low-power television station in Richmond, Virginia. Yeah, because I remember we did early days of film theory. One of my favorite evidence points that we've ever used in the history of the channels was how on one half of the country they use W in front of their broadcast like letters, and on the other half of the country I think it's Z. I think it was Z. I'd have to remember. But immediately by knowing whether it's W or this other letter, you're able to tell what coast of the country it's on, and then from there you can like narrow it down. But that would be interesting if we can use her local reporting moniker, WZTV or whatever, as an indicator of where the game, or where the game, or in this case, where the movie's taking place. That would be fascinating if it's in Virginia, because that would also be the first time Virginia would be included in this. It also immediately sets it apart from Hurricane Utah, which is the books, or the games, which are still kind of nebulous anywhere land.
Let's head inside for more.
Let's head inside for more.
Where 5 children who were attending a birthday event suddenly and mysteriously vanished into thin air. Let's head inside for more.
Oh, okay.
What?
I made the connection.
What, the top-down car?
Yeah, the top-down car. I was like, oh, it's probably the kid that got kidnapped, right? Yeah.
I mean, it could be. Yeah. Or it could be just, top-down shot, like filling up the time. Like they could be related or not, but yeah. 100%.
Yeah, I just like, if we're sticking with like the whole kids thing and we're talking about a child disappearance, then like those things kind of go hand in hand.
Well, yeah, so you have 5 kids. It's interesting how they've crafted this narrative. Actually, I really like it because it leaves a lot of, like, it gives you the context clues and you've got to piece them together, right? So we have 5 kids missing over here. We have the picture of the bunny, which we know is coming from the ghost kid's dream or hallucination or whatever from the trailers. And then we have this top-down shot. So it seems to connect, but we know that the kids aren't disappearing into William Afton's car, right? And so it would connect the idea of like maybe this is Garrett being kidnapped. This is the ghost kids from the missing children incident. And so William Afton is the thing that connects all three of these ideas. That's cool. It's cool. I like this.
Let's head inside for more.
It's like its own little game. I should have everything there. Okay, so this we calculated before, we analyzed this before, and we know for sure that this is the former security guard because we don't really see a mic in the tie. That was in one of our early trailer reactions. What's this? There's clearly words here. Do you know if people have, since you looked up the Morse code stuff, do you know if people have decoded what these words are? Really interesting that they're fixated on, okay. Huh. So you have obviously these kids' drawings, and we've seen this drawing before, right? Usually, I believe this is the one with, you know, Spring Bonnie holding hands with the 5 missing children's incident kids, right? So which would make sense that we go from the news story to this shot of him holding hands with the 5 victims. But this is weird because the camera is only choosing to focus on 3 of them. And you would think, like, oh, you would start with the 5. Do we see it? All 5 of them at any point? Like, right there, you can see that he is holding hands with the other 2. So he is going across the 5. But it's odd that the camera is only choosing to focus on this group of 3. And especially this one. Like, why? Why this one? Why this one? And it lingers there. So immediately one interpretation, and like the very safe interpretation of this, right, is that, oh, it's the 5 missing kids or whatever, and we're just focusing on a couple of them. Maybe this is Cassidy, you know, or the Golden Freddy stand-in, because in all the media, especially the books, right, where they talk a lot about Cassidy, I believe it's always Cassidy is curly black hair, I think is what it's, I'd have to refresh myself, but I believe it's always curly black hair. Cassidy has curly black hair, short curly black hair. So maybe this is the Cassidy stand-in. But I also look at this one and it's odd because I believe, the reason this one's odd is just because I'm really fixated on the middle girl who's got yellow hair, right? Which is Vanessa. Kind of, it reminds me a lot of Vanessa in this movie. And so is there a world where this is Mike and his brother and Vanessa and they're united? That is a weird shot in the dark. That is me just connecting random thoughts and tossing them out into the world. Probably unsubstantiated because we know this is part of like a 5-person missing persons figure. It's just an odd coincidence in detail. I'd have to check the hair color of Garrett, I guess. But I could see a world where like, oh, they're all one happy family or something like that. Because I'm still curious how Vanessa fits into all this, right? She knows more about the franchise than she lets on. She is clearly lingering around this place, and this franchise, you don't just insert characters without them having like some connection to the wider overarching story. So I'm curious what her role is in all of this. And so seeing her as a bridge point between these 2 kids, potentially, I don't know. It's me spitballing. Royal flush. Right, they really fixate on that one. So it's got to be either Cassidy or Garrett, or you know, this is Golden Freddy. Like, but this one's important. A lot of cupcake imagery. As a spooky cheeky mask. It's like the thing we killed in the game, the like melty cheeky
Just
face.
keep your eyes on the monitors and keep people out. Just keep your
Just thanks. So there's, we're getting a lot of the like glitch Bonnie. I don't know if this is supposed to be just like Bonnie turned evil, or if this is specifically Shadow Bonnie or what.
just keep your eyes on the monitors and keep people out.
Thanks.
Piece of cake.
3 o'clock. The scariest YouTube videos have taught me that the scariest things always happen at 3 in the morning. Don't go into the Pizzaplex at 3 in the morning. Asterisk scary. Asterisk you will die. Yeah, keep my eyes on the monitors. Oh, okay, someone escapes. Like one of the vandals escapes. Got the ticking of the clock, like a bomb's about to go off. Okay. Chica Jess. Hey, hanging out with Chica. So it shows that Abby and the animatronics get along okay. So again, to that idea about the Morse code, like, you know, Chica's moving with Abby in the vicinity and it seems like they're okay with each other. I like this Freddy just staring back at us in the darkness. That's cool. I want her to be the killer.
Hit it, guys.
She strikes me as she's the crazy like tutorial girl. Crazy like welcome tape girl. She's the one who's actually doing the murders. Or she's
Hit it,
Vanessa.
guys. Adorable, aren't they? These cuddly critters and the proprietary technology that bring them to life are now your sacred duty to protect. Keep them safe and help ensure that Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria is here to delight, dazzle, and entertain for years to come.
That's awesome. It's cool. Wait for it. Ah, there it is. Look at that boy. His little happy purple bow tie. His ears are short. I'm just calling it out. Oh, his one ear's broken. Okay, there it is. His one ear's broken. That's fair. Send food and water.
It's like a whale call.
It does sound like a whale call. It's like a beluga whale. That's how William Afton communicates.
What we're learning is that William Afton really does have the range.
He does. He has many languages, William Afton does.
From former presidents to whales.
He's truly a man. I like him, this like weird crossfade that they're doing where he's like a ghost for a minute there.
Sick overlay.
Ghost Afton. Look at him go. Can you see the human face in there? You can't really. I was wondering if you could see like good old Matthew Lillard in there. This little Trump voice. That's terrifying. Here's the thing. Even if he wasn't like kind of ripped apart and broken, this is just a horrific design. Just as a child-friendly character. Don't you think he's kind of spooky in general?
Yeah.
Disturbing.
I kind of wish we saw more like stills of him where he's not really moving much.
Yeah.
I find him a lot more disturbing when we don't have the jittering of the camera.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I actually would agree with you on that. Or
like
or more of him like discolored in the corner under shadows. Cause like seeing shots like this, I'm like, oh, I see you. And I see even like the texture of his suit and stuff. I'd love to see him more like decayed lurking in the background. Similar,
yeah.
I mean, almost similar to that shot of Freddy that they had here a second ago, right? Where like he's completely covered by the shadows. And it's like, oh yeah, this is great. I love that. I like more of that with Willie A.
Yeah, I think with Willie A, that's great. I look at that picture with Freddy and I'm like, oh, live Freddy reaction.
Freddy reacts to Sniper Wolf drama. Guys. But guys. That's awesome. I love that.
Like, he's just looking.
I know.
I don't know.
No, he's the thing about the actual animatronics. It's interesting, right? And I think this is one of the things I'm optimistic about with the movie, but I'm curious about is because they have to be believably animatronics that were at a pizzeria at one point that was child friendly. They can't be like inherently spooky and disturbing, right?
Right.
I do wish, and I think you could have threaded a middle line here where they were more decayed and decrepit. I mentioned this at the end of like our last trailer reaction where I think because they've been alone in a abandoned pizzeria for a long time, they could show their age more. They could be dirtier. They could be more worn away. Not to the level of like the withered animatronics for sure, but something that allows them to maintain the childhood friendliness of an onstage performer at one of these pizzerias, but something that allows them to be a little bit more sinister or a little bit less like clean and friendly.
Yes. At the same time,
Yeah, please.
I feel like there's something to be said about the fact that they do look like they've been having, regular upkeep.
Yeah.
To Willier's point before about the being sentimental, right?
Yeah.
There might be a care that goes into these animatronics,
That's
and I wish
interesting.
that the suit, like the Spring Bonnie suit, had less of that care.
Yeah.
Because it was more of like a utility.
That's interesting.
Rather than like a novelty animatronic.
Well, so that's interesting for a couple reasons. I think one, if all of a sudden William Afton is keeping care of the animatronic suits that he stuffed dead kids into, that's a whole nother level of disturbing, but also a little bit sweet. Like, oh, cute. Whereas I would challenge you on him letting his suit be the thing that falls to decay because it's a utility, but it's not, right? Like that is the suit that he chooses to kill in. Like I think that has a lot of emotional weight. Like it's you read a lot of like I grew up watching a lot of like Law and Order, Dateline, learning about serial killers and stuff. And there's a lot of like emotional ritual attached to that whole thing, which is weird and creepy and merits a whole separate conversation, not for the last 5 minutes of this video.
Yeah, we watched Criminal Minds.
Yeah, we all watch Criminal Minds, and there's that like, they leave their souvenir, they have their like mark, they have their whatever.
Right.
And so for him, there is something about that golden Bonnie suit, and this is why I brought this up in our timeline. There's something about that golden Bonnie suit that like he personally connects with or attaches. Was it his first? Was it his, the character he most relates to? What is it? Whatever. But that is his emotional crutch there. And so for him to leave that one as the one that decays actually wouldn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Could you go back to when we see the suit? Because that looks so much more busted than any of the animatronics we see on screen.
It does, which is weird, right?
So I will say that. But again, that's kind of what I mean. Like that suit is broken in.
Yeah.
Like that is pulled on and off frequently.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas like in terms of if you're reliving the days of like the pizzeria being open, the animatronics on stage have to look nice.
Yeah.
They have to look nice and have that function in them, right?
It is true. However, and again, this goes to like what got the pizzeria shut down in the first place. So the pizzeria got shut down obviously due to the scary murders and the bad brand that happened in FNAF 1, right? This is all laid out. But one of the things that the news articles really called out, right, was that the animatronics stank.
The smell
of the animatronics, right? And then in Phone Guy's conversations, he's like, "Oh man, no one gives them the bath. No one ever gave them a bath in the last whatever years or whatever, right?" Like he even calls out like that they stink and that they haven't had if I hadn't had a bath in 20 years, I'd be the same way or whatever. And so you're right, but also if this is meant to parallel in some capacity FNAF 1, a lot of those kind of like you don't get much out of FNAF 1, but you get a couple of those like details in there about like the animatronics stink, they're kind of gross, and they smell, and they haven't had a bath in a long time. That would be the thing that I would call out and be like, well, yeah.
And I see what you mean. I think there is like a big distinction between like the visuals and the smell for one, if that is a detail they are bringing over to the movie, right? But if they are making a choice in order to tell a story visually and like condensing, the lore that we're getting from multiple games and like books into this, that might be like an artistic choice.
Yeah, sure.
So I don't know. I think it's really interesting. It is a little bit jarring for me to see like, oh, wow, Bonnie looks awesome. Uh-oh. You have scratches on your ears.
Wow. Yeah. No, that's totally fair. Yeah, right? It'll be interesting. And again, like, I think at the end of the day, the biggest challenge of this movie and this franchise in coming over into a live action form and any video game adaptation, but all of a sudden when you set things in a real world context, which you have to do when you're doing a live action version of a video game, how do you maintain the tone of it when we're dealing with actual physical objects that we can see and relate to as we do in the real world? And in Five Nights at Freddy's, you can design those animatronics to be a little bit scarier, off-putting, uncanny valley because, yeah, they're animatronics, but they don't necessarily have to function and really be animatronics. Here, it's a tough challenge to fulfill. How do you make, real working animatronic suits that were child-friendly, like Chuck E. Cheese, have dead kids in them, and are supposed to be scary? And the main villains of the franchise, or at least like one of the early villains and one of the early like antagonists of this thing, how do you make them scary? And, by not making them dirty, by not, by making them more cute and family friendly, right, it makes them harder to be scary. I think like Foxy, you're able to achieve that because he inherently has, teeth, and pirates are a little bit more violent, and he's got more of that like sharp edges. Like he reads is more dangerous, but everyone else is very like pillowy and bright and whatever. It does make me also wonder if that's why Springtrap kind of has to be introduced in this first movie, because then all of a sudden you have something that is obviously the like threat and the antagonist and the like very real danger when the animatronics themselves might not be. Interesting. But yeah, I think it sets up a difficult problem to solve. How do you make these sorts of things scary? Having the hands pop out of the mouth, I think that achieves that. And I think the more you have those moments of them lurking, staring, moving without you anticipating them, that's when you really get into it. But we'll find out soon enough, Ash. We'll find out in a couple days.
Whoa.
Who knows how many days?
Yeah, true.
Right?
We could learn over the course of 5 nights.
We could. You could watch it 5 nights.
Yeah.
7 nights with bonus 7th.
Oh, yeah. The 6th night?
We'll skip the 6th. No one cares about the 6th night. It always goes to the 7th night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you haven't booked your tickets yet, Ash?
No, because I'm waiting
you
for
better,
confirmation.
because they're probably sold out.
I looked last night. I made sure I have my few theaters, and I'm like, okay, I know I could get into these.
Yeah.
I need
How are the ticket sales looking, Ash? Is this one going to be a good one?
I mean, some of them are like completely like out.
Really?
Out.
I saw them talking on, I saw a headline the other day being like, oh, Five Nights at Freddy's right now is set to be the second biggest opening of the fall outside of the Eras tour. So,
Bite of 89.
But Taylor Swift, man, see the uniting of Taylor Swift and FNAF just continues in my life. It's going to happen. But who's going to be there at opening night? Taylor Swift.
Oh, she's going to be there opening night.
Of Five Nights at Freddy's movie.
Do you think she's going to be wearing the Chica cheer set from theorywear.com?
I sure hope so, because that's some quality merchandise. I actually saw people in the comments of Friday's video saying that they had gotten their Chica cheer set. And
theirs came already?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Jealous.
What, are you still waiting for yours?
Yes.
Did you get the Chica cheer set?
I did.
Nice. Did you get the Monty Gator?
I did.
Yeah! Awesome, as you should have. That was the correct choice. Anyway, there is new FNAF merchandise available below this video on theorywear.com. Get it. I don't know at this point if you get it, it'll come in time for the FNAF movie, depends on when you watch it, I guess. But you should still get it. A lot of stuff is starting to arrive and people are really happy about it. It's really good. The Monty Gator, fire. Absolute fire. But the t-shirt's great, solid. There's a Music Man t-shirt in there too, just because you have to have a Music Man t-shirt in there. So pick those up to celebrate the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. That's official merch, all approved by Scott Cawthon. Some things not approved by Scott Cawthon that had to get cut last minute. Fun fact.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Did we make a kazoo?
We did not make any kazoos, though.
Dang it.
So, don't worry, we didn't have to cross that path. So anyway, those are available right down below this video, and we'll be back. Since this is Five Nights at Freddy's week, we'll probably do at least like one more special like Five Nights at Freddy's thing before the end of the week to celebrate the upcoming release of the movie, because this is a big deal. This is exciting for this franchise. I think you'll be surprised by what it is. It'll be unhinged. Anyway,
You will be surprised.
I will be surprised by what comes out at the end of this week. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for more. And as always, we'll see you a couple nights from now, 5 nights from now. In the meantime, remember, it wasn't a live stream, but it was a video. A video for you. See ya!